Well, Mayor Joel Day, I appreciate your time, sir.
Anytime, Ryan.
Thanks for coming on to talk to me. I can't imagine you actually had time to come and do this for me, or with me, rather.
Yeah, I mean, there are things throughout your day you have to carve out time to do, and this is one of them, and I greatly appreciate you having me here.
What could you possibly be busy doing otherwise?
Well, we're living through a pandemic and a public health emergency, so that takes up a lot of my time during the day.
Yeah, explain to me. I mean, your just day-to-day process. What are you going into work and scheduling out?
Well, we throughout this pandemic, we have to keep city services in operation too. So that's the number one priority of the day, to make sure that our services are being delivered, that people are aware of what they need to do each day. And then, along with that comes the need to manage the services in the city in this pandemic situation. So each day that brings different challenges because of, we've never been through this before, and it's something that we have to, react to on a moment's notice in a lot of ways.
So given nearly 3 months to sink into this, then what have you prioritized? I mean, what's at the top of your mind, and then what else, comes secondary? Maybe just on the priorities.
New Philadelphia is a city of nearly 18,000 people, and the health and welfare of those people are the top priority. Mm-hmm. So, whatever needs to be done to make sure that happens, that's what we do. Of course, in this pandemic situation and public health emergency, the county commissioners declared a public health emergency early on in March, the end of March. We try to listen to the guidance that we get from the city health department on how we need to react, to any given situation on any given day.
That makes New Philadelphia interesting, I think, or rather unique in the county, is we have our own health department here. So how does that prove to be advantageous for you?
Well, we have our health department is closer to the people it serves because of, its jurisdiction being just the city of New Philadelphia's municipal corporation limits. So it can respond a little more quickly to situations, and it can get answers to people's questions a lot faster.
So looking at decisions that have been made in the past, the one that comes to mind is closing down the Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium. That's definitely something that doesn't come just as, let's do this to get people spread apart.
No. That was made in, led by the health department, and discussions with New Philadelphia schools officials. That's where that decision came from. It was a mutual agreement that because of people not practicing social distancing, people being on the field on the field turf when they were not supposed to be, not ignoring the signage that was out there.
Yeah.
And just some of the other uses of the stadium that the health department felt were not good. That's where the decision was made to temporarily close the stadium.
What kind of input are you looking for as the mayor through these decisions? Because that ultimate decision comes from your office.
Right.
So, what's your team?
The ultimate decision on anything that has to do with the pandemic is from the health department.
Okay.
My role in that is to make sure that the community is following the directives of the public health department. But the Ohio Revised Code gives them the ultimate authority as to, what things can operate, which things can't, which things can remain open, which things have to be closed. Mm-hmm. That's all up to the health department when it's framed in terms of the pandemic.
Okay. And so your role in this, through this, and I imagine that was a learned role at this point, something that was completely unexpected, completely unprepared for.
Yeah, we learned a lot in the first couple of weeks that we were under the public health emergency and pandemic about just how much authority a health department has in their given jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And that comes directly from the Ohio Revised Code. And we're seeing it, too, by the decisions made by Governor DeWine, who's being instructed by Dr. Acton, who is the ultimate health authority here in the state of Ohio as the public health director.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the input of, I guess my question is, who's your team when it comes to maybe not making these decisions, but getting New Philadelphia through this is not only it's not only a health crisis, but it's become an economic crisis. It's become kind of a social issue at this point. Well, clearly a social issue, but there's a large divide. What are you doing?
A large divide where?
I think a divide between those who agree with what our state is doing and those who think everything needs to be reopened. And I'm not asking you your side on this, but back to the priorities. Where do your priorities lie? We want to keep everybody healthy.
Yeah.
And we want to keep the city
the
running.
health and welfare of our citizenry is the top priority, Ryan.
Yeah. And we have to balance that with,
I mean, you can, if you don't believe what's being told to you, you have that choice.
sure.
But, as mayor, I'm responsible for the welfare of the city. So, I can't, in my mind, just start saying that, well, I don't believe that, I don't believe this.
Sure.
As being a mayor, when your responsibility is to look over to be responsible for the welfare of the city. You have to, if you're going to err, you're going to err on the side of caution, so that that to me that is something that will more protect people.
Yeah. And getting to know you over the last few years, then a focus before this pandemic has always been bringing business to Tuscarawas County,
Right.
or rather, bringing business to New Philadelphia.
Right. And Tuscarawas County.
And of course.
And it still is.
Yeah.
I mean, despite this pandemic, we are still looking to grow our city, grow our business community, and, helping our businesses get back on their feet. The Restart Tusk initiative was an idea that we came up with because we knew whenever Governor DeWine lifted the restrictions against small businesses that they would need help to restart. So, that's something that we put a lot of energy into, and it's been very helpful for a number of businesses. But, we have to continue to grow our economy. That starts with people getting back to work. And I've been frustrated with the pace of reopening our businesses, but I understand, and I have a responsibility to follow those directives as mayor. But we have to continue to grow our economy, get people back to work, create more jobs. When you're in that environment, you create more opportunity for everybody.
Sounds like we're trying to grow something in a petri dish full of acid at this point. I mean, this is asking you to do a balancing act, off balance, completely off balance.
Well, not necessarily. It's a challenge, and I like challenges. I mean, that's what motivates me to get up in the morning and get in the office and get after it. It's not. This is anything. None of us have asked for this to happen, but we have it, and we have to work together to get through it. So, I don't know if it's necessarily like a petri dish, but it's a different experience, and life's full of challenges. Some are very difficult. Some are easy to meet and overcome. And, we just have to be patient, take this in stride. We will get through it. As I tell people, this is a temporary situation, even though there are some people out there that believe it's going to be like this forever. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
America has been through many trying times in its history, we will get through this and, be the free people that we have been, before the pandemic.
So tell me about Restart Tusk then.
It's an initiative that I helped put together with Harry Eaton from the Tuscarawas County Economic Development Corporation, Scott Robinson of the County Chamber of Commerce, and some private individuals and businesses who saw the need to help these small businesses that were closed, the non-essentials, help them reopen. And one of the best ways, because they lost so much money during the 2.5, 3 months that they were closed, we knew that the money would be the number one priority for them. So we raised, as of the recording here today, $107,000. And this is from individuals in Tuscarawas County, some businesses, the county commissioners, and other county agencies have all chipped in, which is just remarkable. I mean, that's so gratifying. But from that money, grants are being given to the small businesses as they reopen to help them, pay bills, buy inventory, put in the social distancing equipment that they need in their restaurants or their businesses. So that'll continue. The funding has been given out in phases, and those phases are determined by the businesses that are allowed to reopen under the governor's directives. So now the first two rounds of funding have been the first round of funding has been given. The second round will be given here at the end of this week. And then the third round of funding, the applications are still being accepted. And you can go to the Restart Tusk Facebook page or to the Tuscarawas County Economic Development Corporation's website, tcedc.com. And for more information there. But I'm just really pleased that and it goes to show about Tuscarawas County how we like to take care of each other.
Yeah.
That people stepped up and raised over $107,000 to help these small businesses.
And I mean, clearly a city runs pretty much based off of small businesses and the income tax collection off of those small businesses.
Mr. Eaton did a calculation. There were 3,106 small businesses in Tuscarawas County who employ 20 people or less, and that amounts to about 30,000 employees. So right there, those numbers tell you the impact a small business has in this county and in this city.
So restarting them, as far as Restart Tusk, where do we see this journey taking us as far as trying to
We don't know,
help?
Ryan.
We don't know. There's no knowing.
No. I mean, you don't know when the pandemic is going to end, when the virus will be, dissipated and not infecting people like it is currently. Of course, we're all waiting for a vaccine. Who knows how long that'll take.
Yeah.
But, in the meantime, we have to try to get back to normal as much as we can and just live with this. We know the precautions we have to take, so let's follow them and let's get on with our lives. And, along the way, eventually this virus will dissipate. The vaccine will come. And, that's when we can finally say, okay, we all got through that. Now let's carry on from that point.
How do you work within this environment of tomorrow, everything could be completely different?
That's just life. Your life's journey. When you wake up every morning, you don't know what's ahead of you, so you hope for the best, but be ready to meet challenges because you will have them every day.
Okay. So are you setting goals as far as for city businesses, for our residents? Are you setting goals for how we are moving forward and then at least pushing those back if things do change?
Well, not necessarily setting goals, but just having determination. to get through this.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it. That we will get through this. There's no doubt in my mind, and I won't rest till we get through it. And to me, that's the kind of attitude you have to take. Goal setting in a pandemic and a health emergency, I don't know if that's such a good thing, other than trying to get through each day as best you can, and keep pushing until this virus pandemic comes to a conclusion.
Mm-hmm. This seems to be a problem locally that is solved different for, Southern Ohio, for Cleveland, for Sandusky, and then for Tuscarawas County and for New Philadelphia. It seems to me that the local level is going to look different in how this problem's solved for each community. Am I right to think that?
Well, yeah, people are reacting differently to, stay at home and practicing, the safety and hygiene protocols. So, the virus doesn't care about borders, doesn't care about really who it infects. It's just it's just looking for people to infect.
Yeah.
So, each region of Ohio has its own identity from a business standpoint and from a cultural standpoint. So, all really I am care about is how New Philadelphia gets through this. We'll do it. We'll do it our way.
Mm-hmm. And how well that brings up exactly what I was thinking of. How well are we seated to handle this our way?
Oh, well, we've got a great health department. Commissioner Iono and her staff, I call them the hardest working health department in Ohio. And, buddy, I'll tell you, they are. Mm-hmm. Because the way they have handled this situation, handled it responsibly, and, been very sensible in the directions that they've been given to our people and our businesses. They're really to be commended. And, they're showing, too, the value of public health to a community. So we are blessed to have our own health department. And I hope once we get through this that our state legislature sees the need to better fund public health. Mm-hmm. Because in a lot of ways, Ohio was unprepared to answer this pandemic quickly. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with our public health departments being underfunded.
Mm-hmm. You talked about culture when we're talking about fixing this problem on the pandemic side, mm-hmm. The problem. Culture being for Tuscarawas County and for New Philadelphia, our Guatemalan population mm-hmm. that had this hotspot really just turn up. Where are your thoughts on that? What's your initiative there?
Yeah, they are citizens of New Philadelphia, so we have a responsibility to look out for their welfare too.
Yeah.
The fact that because of their culture and other factors, they like to just stay among themselves, stay together. You'll have up to 10 to 20 people living in a house at a time. They go to work together. They travel in vans together. Mm. So they, in terms of virus infection, they have a high probability because of they're so close knit in their society or in their culture. So I've been advocating all along that we need to pay special attention to them because of them being so susceptible to being infected by the virus. And I even wrote Governor DeWine. I have one of his personal email addresses and said, hey, I'm not worried about deportation. I'm worried about the health of these people because they live in New Philadelphia. Yeah. And, the state needs to start focusing on these type of groups that could turn into hot spots overnight. Mm. Well, we did get a reaction from the state health department. They did send some people to into the county to investigate, but I haven't seen any at least public reaction from the state at this point about that situation.
Is that latency, or is that maybe getting no data?
Well, no,
That's all
I think
speculation,
it's
I guess.
I think it's like most health departments, Ryan. In this situation, everybody's understaffed. Well, there's not enough people to to do the contact tracing and the other things that you have to do in order to control the spread of the virus.
Okay.
So, but that's another lesson that we've learned here in Ohio. Again, about the need to better fund and equip our local health departments to answer a pandemic situation.
Okay. And all of this going on, the last time I saw you, we were at a council meeting. Everyone was together, and I maybe heard of coronavirus once or twice. And now I'm seeing you in person 3 months later. I mean, I've never gone that long without seeing our city officials, without seeing our county officials.
Right.
And so I'm also thinking about where we left off. And something I was really interested in when we left off was your city master plan that you were working on with
Still working on it.
Michael McInturf as well from Cincinnati's School of Architecture, right?
Right.
Okay, tell me about that. I mean, maybe if you want to keep on this topic, tell me about the effect that this pandemic has on the master plan, or just tell me about the master plan.
Well, the pandemic really doesn't affect the master plan because it's a look into the future. It's a growth plan for the city. And at this point, we've identified three what Michael McInturf would call nodes in the city, areas of growth to the north, or actually to the west, to the east, and to the south.
Okay.
And so we're focusing on those areas. We're bringing back the utilization of the Tuscarawas River as being a key asset in the city. That river's been overlooked, and how it can be used to generate the economy, help generate the local economy, and to be used for recreational purposes, and maybe even for purposes like bringing back feed mills and those type of things, where water power could be used to grind feed.
Okay.
And from that, I mean, this is just something that we've talked about the other day.
Yeah.
And from that, you could, you've got wineries that have cropped up. You've got breweries that are cropped up. How about bakeries that are using feed that are ground from water power provided by the river?
Yeah.
So we are gifted with that river. That river means a lot to New Philadelphia, always has. That's why John Nisley picked New Philadelphia, because of that river.
Yeah.
And so we need to utilize that more. And also, the master plan addresses the traffic situation that we have, how to better address that. That'll be something that will go to the Ohio Department of Transportation to discuss. And also, where schools should be located in the future. That was a hot topic here recently, but the master plan, the master plan addresses that.
Yeah.
Where according to the planning experts, these areas are where schools should be located in order to help the city grow and to fit our traffic patterns too. So, Michael McInturf will have more to say about that too. We're just closing this first phase of the plan. We'll be presenting that to City Council either in June or July to give the public an update too on just where we are. But I'm really encouraged about it. It's what I wanted it to be, a roadmap for us to follow into the future, and utilize the assets that we have here in New Philadelphia.
Anybody that looks at what's been happening lately in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years, can probably see when you talked about at the beginning, east, west, and south, right,
Yeah.
of growth. I mean, we're looking at Kent State's Gateway project
That's
at
right.
the Tuscarawas branch. We're looking at the boat ramps that not only one but two that you put in, along with a portage around the AP.
The
property,
right?
The
sewer
AEP
line that goes
property.
across the river. Yeah,
And then on the west side, obviously, growth continues to happen down there. This all seems to be happening before the master plan. It seems like you had a master plan in your mind, and then it was kind of reaffirmed.
It actually, those thoughts came from the initial discussions we had about creating a master plan.
Yeah.
And the master plan is using those facts that we are growing to the east, we are growing to the west, and we are growing to the south.
Yeah.
So the plan helps you make decisions as to how best to grow in those areas, so that you don't create traffic problems, so you don't create environmental problems, and it's more. It enhances the lifestyle of New Philadelphia, I guess is the way I would put it. So, that's what planning does, is make sure that when you do make decisions, they're good decisions.
The last one was in the 70s that we had a master plan?
Actually, 1965.
Ooh, the
was
60s.
The last one, yeah.
Does having a new master plan at least show promise? I mean, does it show that good things are potential here?
Well, yeah, and it reflects the growth of New Philadelphia, the location of New Philadelphia. We've got I-77 and US 250 and 39. There's a lot of highways that converge upon New Philadelphia, and of course the river is another resource. But those are the things that you use in a master plan to create a strategy in order to grow in a very meaningful way.
I think when you talk about the river, I mean, recreation is maybe one of the most important things right now. Outside of keeping people healthy, we have to keep people. We have to give people the opportunity to entertain themselves too.
Yeah. I mean, the pandemic hasn't closed down the Tuscarawas River, for instance.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was very pleased to see over the Memorial Day weekend, holiday weekend, that there were a number of people that were kayaking and canoeing down the river using our boat ramps.
Yeah.
That's why they're there. And, I would encourage people to use them as often as possible. I learned from one of the kayakers I talked with that they spotted an eagle's nest along the river, up in the tree. They counted 4 eaglets.
Seriously,
in the nest, yeah, and of course there's blue herons that are nesting too. So there's a lot of natural things to see if you're just floating down that river.
If you take the trip from the not the Carlisle Canoe Livery, but right behind Waterworks there.
Yeah, from Waterworks.
If you would take that all the way to a rivaling village, not really a rival, just kidding, but Tuskegee, you have probably, I'm going to say you probably have an 80% chance to see an eagle.
Yeah.
You are the man that got me on the river. Yeah. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's become, for the past 3 years, one of my favorite hobbies.
Well, we're blessed. We have a river, Ryan, and all the natural environment that comes with that. So many people have been born and raised and lived in this town and never have been along the river to see that aspect of New Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's a completely new look at the place
is.
we live right inside of.
Yeah.
Is there any?
And it's there for you to use
Exactly.
daily.
Yes.
I mean, we have more fishermen now that are coming to the river to fish, and that's great. That was one of the reasons why we needed those boat ramps.
And you talk about developing the river. Is that more on the lines of use out of it rather than recreation? I don't know what else you could do.
Well, no, it's more recreation based.
How? What else is there to be done?
Well, you can always you build things along the river that enhances its recreational use.
Uh-huh. And then we stop there at that answer. I don't know. I'm looking for specifics. I don't know if you have them yet because it's still developing.
Yeah, it's still developing, but we don't have any definite plans.
Okay.
But we do know that river presents opportunity for landowners and business people to utilize.
Okay.
And we encourage them to do that.
Okay. And on the side of recreation, we left off on cycle tracks and bike path talk before the pandemic hit. What is happening
working
with
on that?
Still working on it.
Yeah. The pedestrian and bicycle pathway plan that we have has started. Commissioner Joe Shreddy is actually the person who began that plan and discussion. It's coming right along. The plan is almost finished.
Mm-hmm. Oh, seriously? So, I mean, we're still designing this thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the final design should be coming here, I would say, within the next 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And then it'll be handed off to us, and then we're going to have to find ways to fund the bike paths and walkway construction.
And that was exciting to me. I mean, that makes us feel like a flat Pittsburgh, if that makes any sense. I mean, Pittsburgh's such a small town, and I know that we don't have exactly the industry that Pittsburgh does, but I love the walkability of that place.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to achieve. That New Philadelphia turns into a very walkable town, and also a town that you can ride your bike and to get around to see all that we have in our community. So, yeah, and those will come into play more as weeks go by too, because more people are getting interested in bicycling. More people love to walk.
Yeah.
And to make New Philadelphia a town where you can come and walk throughout the entire city, you walk through the downtown area, or jump on a bike and ride our trails and ride the connecting trails that'll take you to the south, to the north, into Dover. Dover's doing much of what we're doing too, as far as trying to create bike and walking paths.
Yeah.
New Philadelphia more or less is just evolving into the hub where all these trails come, so that you'll have the opportunity to, once you come to New Philadelphia, you'll be able to bike all around the county
and
hike.
I feel like this is almost a 180 culture change, because right now we're allowed to bike, we're able to bike around here, but this having that availability to pretty much go to each side of New Philadelphia, to every side of New Philadelphia, that's more inviting. I think we'll find that more people are willing to bike if it's easier, if it's safer, if it's more practical.
Well, yeah, I mean, people obviously like to enjoy bike riding, so why not create trails so that they can go to more places than what they can now?
I feel like when I talk to you, the difficulty I have is you see the big picture, you see what's going on, and you're teaching me the big picture. And so I'm having these revelations, and you're like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm part of that majority that knows they're New Philadelphia, but you know what New Philadelphia can be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, and a lot of it has to do with growing up here, reading the history of our town, why John Knisely picked this spot. That bend in the river on the south side is the reason why, because he saw that the river and the plateau that the city was built on was just perfect for development of a city. And I really appreciate that, and I try to look out into the future like he did, to see the possibilities that New Philadelphia has, and also the opportunity that we can create for people. I mean, we're so blessed, Ryan. I mean, we've got so many natural resources. Our location, we're surrounded by agricultural country, which is a huge advantage for us. We're going to have, through this pandemic too, it's also throwing light on the fact that we should try to be as self-sustaining as we can. So that means that we have to take advantage of the agricultural land that's around us to provide us with food, and those type of things that will help you get through an emergency situation. I mean, so yeah, I do see the big picture. I see as mayor that that's my job is to understand the big picture and understand how to best utilize all the assets that we have for the city and again, to create as much opportunity for people as we can, given what we have, the assets that we have.
This has all been calming, and so you can shoot me down on this question if you want, but if we could finish this off with some stark good news.
Sure.
I mean, do you have anything? Do you have anything that you say, you know what, that's good news. That's what people need to know about.
Well, the good news is the sun rises in the morning. Each day is a new day, and where the bad things that happen can be turned into could be forgotten, and you can create good things. New Philadelphia continues to grow. We're opening our first brewery tomorrow, as a matter of fact. It was a ribbon cutting, a 5-barrel Bullet Brewing Company.
That's an interesting one too.
Yeah, on East High Avenue, and our airport down. Now that I'm looking down in that area, the airport continues to thrive. More businesses are using it. Kent State Tusk continues to grow, and Buckeye Career Center. Our manufacturers are growing, and some of them bringing in new lines of products that'll be built here in New Philadelphia. So, there are many good things that are going on, and just the people of New Philadelphia continue to do great things, despite what all we've been through. But we've been through it together, and we're a community that when we have challenges like this, we pull together. And though it's frustrating, and I get that, because I get frustrated too. Yeah. Things aren't happening fast enough for me in a lot of ways, but I've learned to be patient, and because in time, if you just keep that dogged determination, and you keep your eye on the goal, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you talking to me about all this. I know that there's really no answers, but I know that you got me as close to all the answers as we could have gotten.
Ryan, you live your life, and like I say, you wake up every day, and so you can count on something new is going to happen.
I never leave a conversation with you inspired. I really don't, and I've told you that off the record too.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Mayor,
our better days are ahead of us, so just hang on.
No better way to finish it than that, sir. I appreciate your time, really.
You're welcome. Thank you.